State, which saw Miami winning 24-14. In the game, which that last touchdown that Miami scored, Ohio State gave up so that they could possibly come back and maybe do something on the next drive. But I still thought that was an idiotic move. Like you're down 17-14 at that point. Your defense really couldn't stop the run, but at least you had, I think, a couple timeouts at that point. You could have stopped the clock one more time, held them to a field goal, and at least tried to make a quick throw outside for 15 to 20 yards, and then at least chucked up a Hail Mary to your huge receiving core.
Yeah.
Because you're saying, say what you say whatever you say about him. He has a huge arm, and even though that Ohio State offensive line was getting thrashed and ran through all night long, all night long, all night.
Oh no! It was a sad situation. I'm telling you, you had to call the laws on them. They were just getting ragdolled.
You know,
I thought it was a domestic violence. I thought it was some domestic abuse going on up there. I thought somebody
every time I saw Ruben Bain, all I wanted Julian Sand behind that line to do was load up and go, because his big ass was coming through that. Boy looked like
the Rambo out there.
Shit. Come on, Julian, bro. You exercise your Second Amendment rights, because that dude, he wearing you out, bro.
Was on you out like a hole in the strip. I mean, god damn. I'm gonna say this is terrible, brother. Wearing them out, dog.
Bro. That game was so funny. But I just thought Ohio State would have been better off at least trying to hold him to a field goal, and then trying to get a miracle touchdown rather than doing the stuff they did. We're gonna try to get a big touchdown and try to get a field goal on onside. Like that's too much like luck going on in that scenario. Like no, bro. Y'all haven't been able to hit big plays all game because they took them away. All they did was play. Once Miami got that pick six off that stupid wide receiver screen, in which I freaking hate wide receiver screens, dog. Like,
bro,
especially in that situation, like midfield, 1st and 10, like teams know you're either gonna try to throw something short, throw some kind of screen pass, so the defensive back's gonna be sitting on it.
Right.
And also, you might chuck it deep. So literally, if you rewatch that play, they had, I believe, Jacoby Thomas sitting over the top just in case they try to run a deep route. And cornerback, I can't remember his name, who ran back that pick six, but he was sitting on the route, and Jeremiah Smith gave zero effort to try to block. Like zero. Jeremiah Smith looked like he didn't even want to be there. Because he was like, bro, like, why am I out here blocking a damn corner on a screen? Like, bro, let me get downfield, which I would agree on that. Like, bro, let that man get down the field. He a big horse, let him run. But instead, you got him sitting back there doing some of the big hog mile they should have done. And also another thing I hate about most wide receiver screens, especially how they run them in college football, you don't move the offensive line out. So you don't even move the guys out who specialize in blocking to block, and the receivers don't come back to the ball.
You got motherfuckers out here trying to catch a ball, telling them to block. They don't even make no damn sense. Get your big hog mile and blow them off the ball. Go ahead, brother.
Like, to me, the stupidest part about it is, no matter where you are on the hash marks, right? When the ball is snapped for wide receiver screens, every time you throw that ball, it is a 20 to 30 yard pass minimum, right? And it's the worst kind of pass because it's already, there's no such thing as a clean like catch point for a wide receiver screen. And it's a pass where immediately, as soon as you throw the ball and it is complete, it is not positive yardage. Like you're already starting in the negative because the receiver has to sit in the backfield for a wide receiver screen. So you're already starting off in the negative. That's if the receiver catches it. And if the defensive back is sitting on it and is waiting for that, then you have a huge potential for at least an interception or a pass breakup. And at that point, knowing the defensive backs are sitting and waiting on it, like the way most college offenses are set up, like they don't get off of wide receiver screens. They just keep throwing them. And that really killed the Ohio State offense the rest of the night because once they went down 14-0, all they was doing was playing catch up. And they got them out the passing game.
See, and that's what I'm saying. And now you're out the game because you're playing catch up. And if you're playing catch up, you know what I'm saying? And if your defense is already kind of, on the mend, or they're not really a dominant defense, everybody talk about Ohio State getting these players and that players. They don't really have great cornerbacks that come out. The safety play is better than the cornerback play. That front seven, as we saw, is not really, it has times where it's not really consistent. So you can't put your team in situations like that. You're going to end up in a situation where now you're playing catch up, you're down 14-0, and now, you're behind the 8 ball because now your quarterback's already rattled. I mean, he finished his game with 2 interceptions. But, to throw a pick six and then another interception later at the end of the game, trying to make something happen, it just, it went from one thing, it went from bad to worse, basically, man. Sad situation. Yeah. Everybody said they were unbeatable. I thought they should have got Jeremiah Smith more involved. I mean, he had a very good game, but stats-wise. But, again, like you mentioned on the screenplay, you can't be lazy, man. You got to go out there and make a play and move. And if that play calls for you to block like a motherfucker, man, what you waiting on? You know what I'm saying? You got to go out there and play. You know what I mean? And at times you got to demand the football. You know what I'm saying? Beat your matchup. You don't sit up there and just fall back into the bag. You're supposed to be the star player of this football team. Play like the star player of the football team.
Bruh, he didn't want to be the star. He just is. Like, he's clearly the best player on that offense. I can't see the football team because I think the best player on the Ohio State football team is Caleb Downs. Who had a phenomenal game. Who had 2 forced fumbles, made big hit after big hit, pretty much kept a deep passing game for Miami in check all night.
Hell yeah.
And was smacking in run defense. But to your point, like that Ohio State front seven is so weak. Like I remember looking at that game Ohio State played against Indiana in the Big Ten championship, and I wondered, like, man, what's wrong? Like, why is Indiana in this game? And we'll get to it a little bit later. The biggest, like, people keep saying NIL is killing the SEC. NIL didn't kill the SEC. It doesn't mean the SEC is overrated. What it did was it watered down all the blue chip rosters in college football. Yeah. Where Ohio State used to be able to rotate in 7 to 8 defensive backs a night, 6 or 7 linebackers a night, 7 to 10 defensive linemen a night. Now that's cut down to maybe 6 defensive linemen, like 2 linebackers outside of they starting they top 2 linebackers, and maybe they have an extra nickel or an extra safety to rotate in nickel packages that they feel comfortable with, because all the guys who they would have had that was been in those positions, they left because they wanted to get PT.
Right.
And Indiana is a huge beneficiary of it because Kurt Signetti came from the Nick Saban school of we're going to work our asses off. And to finish off this game, I just thought at the beginning, and I had this conversation with a Miami booster a couple days before the game, about a week before the game. I won't say the gentleman's name, but he came from the Jimmy Johnson school where he thought Miami should have tried to take the shot early and then run the ball just to back Ohio State up. And I told him then, and Miami pretty much followed what I told him was, look, forget that one deep shot. Ohio State's defensive backs are good enough to cover for that. We don't need to take that one deep shot and potentially risk Carson Beck putting the ball in harm's way.
Yeah, it is.
We're going to do everything underneath. We're going to ride the hot hand of the running game. We're going to do our jet sweeps, and we're going to make this Ohio State team go sideline to sideline.
That's right. That's right.
The defensive backfield can go sideline to sideline. They are talented enough to do it. They are a fast, athletic defensive backfield.
Lord, you preach.
That front seven, those linebackers and those defensive linemen, they not like that like they used to be. I'm sorry.
Hell no.
The Bosa's are not walking through that building. Chase Young is not walking through that building. Not a young man who they just got committed for the 2027 class might be in that vein, but he ain't gonna be here for another year and a half there at Ohio State and Columbus. Even then, he might need some development. But
that's right.
Point being, big win for Miami. Great job getting your swagger back. I thought you were going to go to the national championship, but after a couple other results the other day, I don't know.
You said what?
I thought they was going to go to the national championship because I thought you heard me. I ain't like, man, what do we look like I'm stuttering? I said I thought they was going to the national championship. Thought as in past tense. But
stop the cap.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Oh my God.
I did. You want to know why I thought they were going?
Yes,
because I thought that the script that was being written was for this dude. I thought the script that was being written was for a Carson Beck redemption. And then I watched the games and I said, Carson Beck didn't do ish. Mario Cristobal played that game like, all right, we need to make sure Carson Beck doesn't lose us the game. And to me, you don't get a redemption story if you don't lose the game. You get it if you win it, but not if you don't lose it. And the fact that Georgia lost the way they lost against Ole Miss and Trinidad Chambliss, like, I don't know. I don't feel confident in Miami against Ole Miss because I'm going to just say it. Trinidad looked like the best quarterback in the country last night. Like, the way he was delivering those passes to his receivers, he was making NFL. He was making the throws that people think Shedeur Sanders makes in NFL. That people think Trinidad Chambliss was making passes last night that people were trying to say that Shedeur Sanders made at Colorado. When Shedeur Sanders was just a poor decision maker. But anyway, congratulations to the Hurricanes. Big win against Ohio State. Glad y'all boys did good. Well, let's get into this next game. The afternoon snooze. The big game.